looking to find ways to support my wife both emotionally and to continue financially through her legal trouble.
Uh-oh, what happened?
To cut a long story and make it short, she worked for a group home and was found that she had stolen some money of excess of $15,000, and they eventually caught her. And yeah.
Ooh, man. So what's let's go down the rabbit hole and then we'll work back. Like, what's the ramification? What's happening?
They're charging her with theft over $5,000 and all that. And
so in Canada, is she gonna have to do jail time?
So it doesn't seem like she's gonna have to do any jail time. Her lawyer's been able to cut a deal, and it seems like we're just gonna have to pay a restitution, and she may have to do some sort of community service, as she's a first-time offender, and we have a 15-month-old, and she's also 8 months pregnant. So I think the last thing they want to do is put her in jail.
Yeah. Man. So what's it like been in your home since all this came out?
So it's been about 6 months now. The first 3 months were a little rocky. I was having a really tough time with it emotionally because, the situation, not to get into it too deep there, but the situation hit really close to home. It was something that her and I we both believed in a lot. And, I was feeling really resentful towards her for that. And I mean, the financial strain, she unfortunately lost her job, and, she had to take something minimum wage versus making good money. So our financial position definitely went down, and I had to work extra hours, pick up another job while she kind of worked through it. But the last 3 months or so has been a little bit better, but I'm starting to feel low again. But she's not sure why, because, things look like they're coming up, and, things should be good versus not being good.
So, man. So let me just say out of the gate, you are right. You're using very kind language. And so stop me if I'm putting words in your mouth, okay? Or not even words in your mouth. You seem like such a kind man. And so I'll put these words right in the middle of your chest. You're right to be furious. And you're right to be embarrassed. And you're right to feel taken advantage of. And like you had a picture that you co-painted with somebody, and without you knowing it, she set fire to that picture. You're allowed to be upset and heartbroken and trying to figure out what am I going to do next. Okay, you're not nuts, and you're not a bad husband, and you're not a jerk. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How much? Let me say it this way: rarely this type of behavior, this type of brazen stuff, happens in a vacuum. And here's the question is: where have you seen this stuff pop up in your home over the years that you've known this person? A little deception here, a little, it's no big deal. Like, where has that popped up?
I mean, it's popped up in a lot of aspects of our life, and I kind of, I definitely, brushed it off to the side, saying, like you said, no big deal. And there's the honesty was always a big thing, and I always wanted to see change. And the shining light, or the light at the end of the tunnel, is that this situation has brought it to she's been working on that sort of honesty, which is really good to see. But there was definitely a lot of signs beforehand that I went, it's okay, not a big deal, push them off to the side.
Man, dude, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have to talk bad about somebody's wife. That's one of my core values, to not ever do that. And here we are. And hopefully you hear me not talking bad about her as much as calling out behavior that's had really gnarly ramifications for you, your kids, and for her and everybody. So, man, how can I help you? What can I do for you?
I'm just trying to figure out how to navigate, as you said, like when the smoke clears, like, there is a clear plan. It's just, how do I deal with these emotions? How do I, obviously, day to day is great, but, when I've worked, 5 weekends in a row and, I'm sitting there and I'm exhausted. I'm like, okay, like, how do I keep going? Like, I understand, like, I tell myself it's always for the kids. It's always for my daughter and our next one who's on the way and all this and that. But, I want to be able to, strengthen my marriage with my wife, given the fact that, she's now seeking therapy and all that. She's in like a 6 to 8 week program now and all that. And I need to figure out how to get myself from the, I don't know how to explain it.
I got you. I want to see
unsurety.
I want to see how far you would go. You never said it. Okay. Yeah. So here's the path for you. And it's going to sound counter to what I tell most people, but this is directly for you, my brother Chris. Okay.
Yeah.
For a season, I want you to stop asking what everybody else needs first. I want you, for the first time, to say, my name is Chris, and I do have some major responsibilities in the form of 2 kids and in the form of a marriage that I want to rebuild from the ground up. But in order to do that, your kids need to be able to anchor into concrete. And you are quicksand. You've had to be quicksand your whole life.
Yeah.
Your marriage, you took on the role of wallpaper in a house that she built. And every time you're like, hey, I don't think this goes on this wall, you just kind of looked away. And so for the first time in your life, I want you have to begin to write down, get it out of your head and out of your body, put it on paper for the first time. What do I want? And when you say on the 5th weekend in a row, this is just for the kids, this is just for the kids, and this sounds nutty, but you're going to start to resent them. They can't carry that kind of weight. Yeah. You have to get up on that 6th weekend and that 7th weekend and say, I'm the kind of man who shows up for my family even when the house is on fire, because that's who I am. And the beneficiaries of that sort of rootedness will be your kids, will be your new marriage that you're going to rebuild. But if you're always scanning the environment to see who can I go pat on the head, who can I make okay so that I have a bed to sleep in, I promise you, brother, you're going to end up right back in the same situation, except this time it's going to be she's going to find another guy.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't experienced that before. So let me ask you this.
Definitely not, no.
What do you want? Just from your gut, let it rip.
Stability.
Okay. How will you...
Sorry, go ahead.
How will you, my friend Chris, establish stability with Chris? Let me ask a different way.
Honestly, it probably...
How will you become a man that you respect and, more importantly, a man that you trust?
I feel like it starts with, like you said, building myself from the ground up. And I feel like conversations like this and being honest with myself and somebody else is where I'm going to start.
Amen. But also, you're going to have to start taking action that you've never taken before. And it sounds silly, but this is where I'm going to go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time, regardless of how I feel. And I'm going to make a plan for myself, and I'm going to make in concrete commitment to myself that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for the next 60 days for me. I'm going to exercise. I am going to write down on a day-to-day basis. I am a man who will work 7, 8, 9, 10 weekends in a row to pay off my wife's criminal behavior so that my kids have food, because that's the kind of man I am. It might be going to a gym. It might be hanging out with your friends. It might be getting some male friends for the first time. It might be you going to see a counselor and saying, man, I need some skills to begin to practice. Asking myself, what do I want? And again, all of this is in service to your family.
Yeah.
But otherwise it becomes codependency. When you need everybody to be okay and you need everybody to be not mad and you need everybody to not challenge you, you end up drowning and they have nothing to anchor into.
Oof. You're too good at that. Wow, that was exactly. It's really what I need to hear. That stop trying to put out fires and make myself into concrete here, so the people around me have something to anchor into.
And you're going to have to come up with a series of probably 3 or 4 or what statements. Okay, here's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
If we agree on a budget and you spend money out of that account, here's what I am going to do. I'm going to leave because I don't trust you. And I'm not telling you, I'm going egregious here, so it doesn't have to be that big. But if you steal a thing again, if you lie in this home again, I am going to X, Y, or Z. If for the next 6 months, for you to reestablish trust in your home, need your own checking account, then I'm going to suggest you do that. And I tell every couple on the planet, you got to combine finances. But this is a moment when you have to reestablish safety and trust in your house, especially starting with you.
Yeah. Thankfully, once the light came out, we had a conversation and an agreement of, we're going to have one singular checking account, but she doesn't have access to it. And when she needs stuff, I send it to her while we work on things. So thankfully that doesn't end up as an issue right now. But I'd like to build to a point where we can get back to one shared bank account.
You'll have to get there. Otherwise you become her dad.
Yeah.
And you don't want a third child.
No.
And she doesn't deserve that from her husband. But y'all are going to have to, right now it's about establishing safety. And rebuilding from the floor up trust. Which means you're going to have to tell her a whole bunch of things over time that you've kept quiet or shoved down for the sake of being nice, for the sake of not making things uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to get with a counselor of some sort, a men's group, a jiu-jitsu class. You're going to have to get with a group of men and be vulnerable enough to say, I have to learn for the first time in my life how to stand tall and walk forward with purpose so that I can be a husband and a father and a man that other people can anchor into and that I can trust. I absolutely believe y'all can do that, but it's going to take some work. And that work for you, my brother, starts in the mirror.